Passionators, how you doing? Happy holiday greetings, one and all. It's great to be back with you guys. I'm not going to be here long, but I did just want to say hi because it's been a while. And this topic was on my mind, so I figured I'd just talk about it for a few minutes while I'm sitting out here making some vitamin D and I've got a little bit of battery left. So I hope everybody's holidays are going well, that you are having a good time, you're enjoying yourself with family, with your friends, with your loved ones, people caring about you, and you caring back. Because let's face it, that's really the best part of the holidays anyway. Hi, Byron. Thanks for checking in. Hi, Tamika. Thanks for coming. Just wanted to talk for a little while. I'm giving people a little bit of time to check in and say their holiday greetings. I am out here in my t-shirt. This is quite a switch for me. I am not used to this. This whole, subtropical Santa Claus thing is a bit of an adjustment, but it's an adjustment I am more than happy to make. More than happy. Because, yeah, if I don't see snow no more, I am not offended. I don't know about the rest of you all, but yeah. After being born and raised in Chicago, I have seen enough snow to carry me for a very long time. Hi, Cordelia. Pat, oh my gosh. Hey, boo. So, I wanted to talk just for a little while, just a little bit, about this much, about these triggers. Because holidays seem to be a time, hey, Twas, holidays seem to be a time where people get triggered by all kinds of things, right? And it really doesn't matter what your relationship status is. Some people are feeling triggered because they're overwhelmed by the demands that their family is requiring. So and so is coming from out of town. How am I going to navigate all that? People are going to be around that I really don't want to be bothered with. How am I going to navigate that? Just because we share DNA, I'm expected to show up and be the bigger person when this person is always violating my boundaries. That's a big deal. There are other people who get triggered because they're feeling left out, because they're not part of a celebration, because maybe they don't have anybody nearby that maybe used to be there. Maybe for the last time, maybe never again. And they have to make that adjustment. So there's that sadness and they're being triggered by it. But there are other more lightweight things like social media. I tell you what, social media is the trap that millions of people fall into on the daily, many times a daily, usually to get mad about something. That is the biggest trigger. Folks show up on social media to get mad about all kinds of stuff. Some of the stuff is actually legitimate. Some of the stuff really is legitimate. There are reasons to be angry about all kinds of stuff. But there is something about being triggered that most people either overlook or they're just not aware of. And that's what I'm here to talk about. All this time that we spend being triggered, that we get angry over, that we look for this content, right? We look for content that makes us mad about something. Or maybe we don't. Something just comes up in our news feed and all of a sudden we went from minding our own business to, man, I got to say, and they ain't out right, and this isn't yada, yada, yada. And all of a sudden you're in a discussion that you didn't start, number one, that doesn't have anything to do with you personally, but you took it personally. And now you feel triggered. That is one of the biggest traps there is on the internet. So as I was thinking about that, why are so many people so often going off the rails about things that doesn't have anything to do with them, especially around holiday time, right? And the truth is, when people are angry, They engage more. People will say out of one side of their neck that they want more positivity, they're tired of the negativity. Oh my God, reality TV. Oh my God, it's all trash. We got all these cable channels that show us nothing but, chaos and toxicity and craziness, and I'm tired of seeing it. And the news looks bad, and everything else looks bad. My life is falling apart. All of this negativity is swirling around us all the time. However, when a positive alternative is presented, I don't really want to see that. I don't have time to watch this. It's like, this doesn't have anything to do with me. Yeah, but that's boring. I don't, no, maybe not this time. I'll come back to this when I have more time. I have seen influencers, people with huge social media platforms, scroll through literally thousands of compliments to get to one insult. And they do social media for a living. They scroll through thousands of compliments to get to one insult. And then they'll get there and engage that person. And the reason why I point this out is because the way you do anything is the way you do everything. We do that in our relationships too. We give our best attention, our most time, our most energy to the people that piss us off. Meanwhile, the people who love and support and care for and comfort us, we ignore until a crisis comes. I did not make that up. That is just a fact of how people tend to relate to each other. The people who are there for you, the people who care about you, the people who call to see how you are without asking you for anything, the people who swing by just because they can, those people, we'll ignore them for months at a time. But let a perfect stranger, if you have body image issues and a perfect stranger says something negative about whatever that issue is that you have, oh, you are off and running. You are at the races. You are in this because you are about to be right, and everybody who's watching this exchange is going to see that you're right, and you're going to change this Neanderthal's mind, and you're going to do it with everybody watching, and that's how you're going to feel better because you know you're right, and this idiot isn't. And in order for you to feel better, you have to convince them that you're right. Or at least, if you don't convince them that you're right, somebody else has to come under whatever it is you're saying and go, yep, for real. I hear you. I see you. Yep, you're right. And then as soon as the conversation is done, you go back to your world, wherever it was, and so do they. And you invested all of this time and energy into this exchange that hasn't added anything to your life, hasn't changed anything about your circumstances, has brought you no closer to anyone who actually loves you. Meanwhile, the people who really do care about you, they're the white noise in the background, waiting for you to finally figure out that they're actually there. We do the same thing in our relationships. Here's the problem with the trap on social media. Social media is exploiting that tendency of fake outrage for profit. Angry people are very profitable. Let's be clear. This isn't about entertaining. This isn't about informing. This isn't about any of that. Not news, not TV, not radio, not none of that. None of that is there to entertain you or inform you or educate you. It is all there to sell you. It's only there for the ads and commercials. Let's be clear. And they all know that the longer that they can keep you engaged, the more likely you are to buy. That's why they're so willing to upset you. They're willing to throw out inflammatory, ridiculous stuff just to make you mad because they know that if they make you mad, you'll stay around longer. How many people are doing that same thing in their relationships? They complain about relationships that they stay in for a lifetime. Because once you get angry, you stay around longer. You know? I know people that's not popular, and I know that's not what you hear, and you got to go out of your way to try to make people like you. And if you really want somebody to stay, they only stay if they like you. Really? Sometimes that actually happens. Don't get me wrong. And it's a lot more fun when it does happen. But too many people choose not to put their effort in that kind of a direction. They get charged. They're adrenaline junkies. They get charged from being angry. Those are the people you see going back and forth on the internet. Those are the people who show up in relationships and the slightest little thing gets this big reaction. When they feel like they've been insulted, disrespected, whatever, in some way, shape, or form, and they have this disproportionate reaction. That's those people. They're the ones living in this chaos, but they stay in the chaos because they're addicted to the adrenaline rush. And that's one surefire source of adrenaline that they can have on a regular basis. That's why they're getting triggered. It's all this fake outrage about things that really don't affect them because they're taking things personally that aren't even about them. But they choose to take it personally. And the minute you take it personally, now it's a fight. So that's why I titled this video, "You Won't Be Triggered When You Realize That You're the One Holding the Gun." Nobody else is triggering you. You're not triggered until you get mad. No matter what they say, no matter what they do. The trigger doesn't fire until you squeeze it. You're holding the gun. Take your finger off the trigger. You don't have to show up for every fight you're invited to. You really don't. Just because somebody said something that rubs you the wrong way doesn't mean you have to respond at all. Never mind in anger. If your life, health, safety, or property isn't being threatened, you have a decision to make. Is it really worth the response? Is it really worth your time, your energy? Is there something better that you could invest that time, energy, and focus into that actually is going to put something positive back into your life, into your world, into your relationship? Can you redirect that focus, put it somewhere else that actually serves you rather than drains you? It's all about the focus. It's like, sure, you can get mad, but what does it gain you? What does it gain you to argue with internet strangers? What does it gain you to create problems in your relationship where there are no problems? Because you're bored, or because you can't figure out how to navigate a relationship that isn't constantly high volume, high action, that isn't volatile, that isn't toxic, that isn't always making you feel like you're about to have a fight or you should be having a fight. And if you don't have a fight, then you go create one. If you redirect, just redirect. Redirect into a direction that actually serves you. Because you being triggered doesn't serve you. It doesn't help you. It doesn't advance you. It doesn't expand or elevate or evolve you. If your health, your life, your safety, your property, your personal freedom are going to be the same after you finish acting a fool than it was before you started acting a fool, that means you just wasted your time and energy in a direction that is draining you and not serving you. And ultimately, it could take you in a direction that actually blows up your relationship rather than pulling it closer together. You're only triggered when you squeeze it. You're the one who's holding the gun. Put down the gun, and your life and your relationships will be much simpler. This is all about how you treat yourself first, because that is the blueprint you use for how you treat other people. So, that's all the time I have right now. If you would like to support me in my efforts here, next year is going to be epic. I'm creating an online academy, and it's time to get live and personal because that's where relationships really happen. So, if you'd like to join me for my first class, it's edenadele.com/release. Or if you prefer, like some of you have suggested, I also installed the donate button on my website. So feel free to use it generously because we got plane tickets to buy, and it's time for me to come and see you all and get in a room so we can talk like real people, because you know what? Facebook is trying to give me a hard time about everything. Like everything. Facebook is not feeling your girl, okay? So I'm gonna have to start easing my major engagements off of Facebook because they don't want me to talk about this stuff. Don't ask me why. I do not know. So while I can, when I can, I'm gonna come here and ask that you go to my website, because yeah, that's where the real conversation is going to continue. And when we do start getting personal with each other, that's where we get to have real conversations and we can talk about where people are actually living. But for right now, please remember, you're only triggered because you're the one who's squeezing it. You got the gun. So whether or not you put it down, it's up to you. It's not somebody else's job. I hope the rest of your holidays are happy. However you celebrate, or if you don't celebrate, I hope that your peace of mind is increased, that your heart is more open than it was, and that you go into the new year hopeful and willing to be loving one more time. Thanks for checking in, everybody. And I'll be back again soon.